Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's agenda here, we got some paint work to start. We got the Mustang out of the garage. We got the garage, for the most part, cleaned out. I got my plastic up, 3 box fans with furnace filters as ventilation. And I'm going to start small, just do a few pieces just to see how everything works. I want to make sure my air compressor keeps up. I want to make sure the dryer system over there keeps up. So the pieces I'm painting today are, let's see, I got my 2 sail panels, door handles. Right here I got the 0304 Cobra rockers, front and rear, and I got my A pillars right there. I got a newer spray gun that I'm using. Haven't used it in a while. I got to get familiar with that. As for materials, I got my base coat, which I'm going to be taking out a little later, with the color, BMW 475 Black Sapphire. I got all my reducers, and for clear coat, I went with, where is it? Right here. 5125, the Glamour High Solids clear coat. I heard good things about this. It's not that expensive. It's definitely not a top of the line clear, but I think for this project it'll work out fine. All my reducers for my base coat. Well, it should be all set up. Alright, so first thing I have to do is actually just basically scuff this stuff up, all the little nooks and crannies here. I hit all the faces and everything with 600 grit, so I got some scuff paste right there, and I got a Scotch-Brite pad. So I'm going to hit everything and try to get all these things prepped, hose them off, let them dry, and then I will finish putting the plastic down. I got to clean up some of this and put some plastic on the floor. Alright, so again, I sanded all the parts where I could reach with 600 grit on a DA. Now I have a piece of red Scotch-Brite pad. It's been used a little bit, so it's not as abrasive. It's probably equivalent to around 600 grit, and I used it with the scuff paste. Alright, after I blew the garage out, I grabbed my overspray sheeting. You know, it's the stuff that you wrap cars with for masking. And just cut off a big long sheet of that, hung it on my garage door, a little excess to drape on the floor. And then I grabbed some tarps and stuff and laid them down just to protect my floor from all the overspray. Alright, so here all I did was pin those box fans underneath the garage door and laid up some of those cheap fiberglass furnace filters in front of them. And it actually caught all the overspray and vented the area actually pretty well. Alright, here it's just something I always used to do. I always used to cover the stands in tape. Kind of helps with getting paint buildup on your stands, and then eventually that will blow off into your paint job. Alright, here I just made some door handle holders out of a paint stick that I drilled a hole into, and this helps so you can control the part while you paint it. Alright, so once I got all the parts in, laid out where I wanted them, I started wiping them down. I used just any wax and grease remover, put it on one rag, wipe it on with one, and wipe it off with a dry, clean rag. I actually did it twice because I was a little worried about fish eyes and contamination. Doing it in a garage. Alright, so here you can see I went with the Nason full base line of paint. The color is BMW 475, which is Black Sapphire. I didn't mind really going with the cheaper line of base coat because I'm not really matching anything. That's the big thing when the difference between a cheap line and the more expensive is the color match, because they use more expensive and they have a bigger library of pigments and tints and all that stuff. So I wasn't matching anything, so I didn't mind going with the cheap stuff, and the color actually looks cool in the sun anyway. So alright, so after giving all the parts a tack, I came back and hit it with a light to medium coat of base coat. You don't want to really wet this stuff on there. It's not necessary. You're not looking for any build. You're just looking for color.
Here, let's go back.
So after about 10 minutes, the first coat of base coat was completely dry. I didn't have any dirt or any chunks, anything in the paint, so I just went right over it with a second coat. I put it on slightly wetter, always keeping in mind I want to control the pearl and the wetness and the metallic. I want it all evenly wet, and I don't want to drench it on there. Alright, so the base coat is all done. I'm actually surprised how well everything worked out so far. Got another 5-10 minutes of flashing for the base coat, and then I can clear coat, so I'm going to get ready to actually put my suit on. So far no issues with dirt or anything. I'm actually surprised. The gun I'm using is the Lullaby. It's got a 1.3 tip, which is pretty good. I used to spray 1.4. I got a 1.3 because I didn't want to go crazy in my garage. So. But it seemed to work out great with this base coat. The Nason base coat is a little thin. So, alright, so I'm going to be using the 5-star, good middle of the road. Decent looking, high solids clear. Got 80 in here right now. I don't have any big pieces, so I'm going to use the panel, which is the medium activator for it. Alright, let's get this mixed up, and I'm going to do 2, possibly 3 coats. I don't know how much. I'm going to see how it goes on and how clean it was.
Alright, so when I was mixing this stuff up and spraying it, it was a little thinner than the other clears that I was used to spraying. It had absolutely no problem coming out of a 1.3 tip. But it has been a week since I actually sprayed it. I pulled the parts out. I'm still looking at them. I have no dieback. There's still plenty of solids, you can tell. There's a ton of gloss. And it did give me a pretty thick film build, so at the end of the day, I mean, that's what you want. So this was the first coat going on here after giving it a good tack off. I was afraid to run it. I've never used this clear. It's a little thin. So I didn't go crazy trying to wet it on. I put a nice medium wet coat on there. And first coat looked pretty good. After about, I'd say it was a good 20 minutes, I let that first coat tack off. I was afraid about possibly trapping solvents, so I gave it an extra long 20 minutes before putting the second coat on, which to be honest with you, the parts were laying flat. I did get a little aggressive with the final coat. I was happy with the build, and I put it on a little wetter than you would put it on maybe the side of a car, but at the end of the day, the stuff flowed out great, and I was able to get away with 2 coats, and I'm sure I have plenty of film built. Alright, so this is immediately after the second coat of clear. Hasn't fully leveled out yet. The finished product actually looks smooth as glass, honestly. It does have a little bit of dirt, obviously spraying in the garage, but shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to nib it all out and polish all these parts. So as usual, if you like this kind of stuff, you want to see more, you want more information about painting at home in your garage, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it. I hope I had plenty of information for you. So we'll end this video with a close-up of this beautiful color.